How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to showcase the build that I've been running for doing T17 maps as well as just doing like harder content. I've been trying to build a character that would hopefully be capable of doing some of the harder maps that can reward a mage blood, things like that. So the thing I've been working on is a Pathfinder Transcendent. So we are converting as much physical as possible over to elemental, and then we are using again transcendence in order to turn our armor into applying for our elemental damage, and then everything else outside of that is basically just focusing on flask charges here. And then we are using a couple of cluster jewels here because these are the easiest way to get a lot of damage still with the skill, or as much damage as we can. Both my cluster jewels are really bad still. I haven't actually tried to craft these at all yet because I'm still undecided if I'm going to stick with this version or if I'm going to end up using like a bow version with just less defenses but a lot more damage for running things. But so far, here's like the base core of the build. Let's go ahead and look at just kind of the stats here in PoE. So as you can see here in PoE, our actual full DPS on this is not actually very high. This is only at like 8.5 mil, and this is like a spike DPS, right? Because this is with Vol Reap up. When Vol Reap isn't up, then the damage is about 5 million when you're getting hitting with 3 Reaps at once, which is typically what you're going to be hitting with on a boss. And this is actually in the like damage form, right? If you need to be tankier, you can disable hatred here, and instead you enable determination. And you can see the effective hit pool and the amount of max hit we can take goes way up, but the damage does end up dropping off a little bit. So I've been using this in some T17 maps. I'll have some footage at the end of this basically showing tanking basically just everything, or the wildest things you could possibly think of. But let's kind of go over a bit of the gear. You are using an alternating scepter here for Secrets of Suffering. I haven't found a very good one of these yet either. I haven't really gone like all into craft one because I'm not trying to invest yet, or any more than I already have. But like if you start to craft something like this, it's basically like impossible to sell afterwards. So I'm not trying to do that unless I know for a fact I'm going to be playing this build for the rest of the league. You want to get a Dawnbreaker here with as high of physical damage converted as you can. This is 27%. You can get up to 28 on a single corruption, and you can get, of course, even higher on a double corrupt. For your helmet, you can get this up to 18% physical taken as. I only have the 7% right now, so I may end up upgrading this, or I just need to hit it with a few conflict orbs until I can hopefully get the physical damage from hits bumped up 2 levels. We have a lore weave here with +2. We couldn't find a +2 with 78%, so we got a 77% for now. It's still fine though. As you can see, the EHP numbers are still really high. It's not a big deal. For gloves, you do need full conversion on this. I have actually upgraded these gloves since then. These gloves I've actually gotten crafted up to 25% now. I just haven't updated PoE. Yeah, for your gloves, you want to get your 60% conversion to fire on your gloves. And then for your boots, you just need suppression or stats, whatever you need, whether you need some strength or whatever it is. I am using Defiance of Destiny. I did test this with Eternal Damnation as well. Like I played this before, when I was in Sanctum with Eternal Damnation, and it was good, but Defiance of Destiny is just way better. The amount of sustain you get with Defiance of Destiny and Progenesis is absolutely crazy. If you watch some of the footage that I have after this, you'll see there will be times where I'm supposed to be taking all of my life basically and dying, but Progenesis keeps me alive long enough to get like hit enough times to end up stabilizing out of it. We have Circle of Anguish here. This is just Onslaught on hit ring. If you get one that's perfect, you do want one that has Herald of Ash buff effect and then Herald of Ash reservation efficiency. I just didn't bother to go get one just because I didn't mind. Like I had a this setup that I'm using with Impossible Escape, so I didn't really need it. Same thing goes like with your helmet. You would typically want to get mana reservation on here as well. But again, I don't have it. It's not that big of a deal right now. I just crafted a ring here with essences for the 10% of physical is extra fire. Because I didn't really need anything on this ring. Like, I could effectively take this ring off and my character is still fine. Resistances wise. Like, I still am full capped on everything without this ring. This ring is just purely damage. And then for the belt, right here, I'm just using, basically, you want to get a belt that has like reduced flask charges used, and then you're basically crafting and hitting it to hit flask effect duration. But you want a Veiled Chaos Orbit or Ice or Ashling Slam, the increased effect that you need on there. And then for flasks, I have, this is for Avoid Stun here, and then we're just using a Bottled Faith, a Quicksilver Flask, a Progenesis, and a Taste of Hate. I did actually update this Taste of Hate as well, so let's fix this now. So you can see here, this is a 1513 now that I got. HP goes up just a little bit. And then for your cluster jewels, you just want Spiked or Special Reserve Spike Concoction. I forgot I need to actually go buy a 5 passive version of these. I haven't bought that yet. For my charms, I'm running a Frenzy Charge on hit and remove bleeding whenever I use a flask. And then this 12% physical damage as a random element with 5% recovery when I use a flask. And then one with suppress on it, just so I can save 1 skill point. It doesn't really matter if you get the suppress or the recover life, because you could always take the mastery under the flask mastery to get the same thing. So like you could get this recover life mod on mastery instead. For your Watcher's Eye, this is where you're going to basically be spending the most money on any item in the build, is getting a Watcher's Eye with double physical damage from hits taken. Last I looked, these are about 16 divs, something like that. So that's going to be the most expensive piece, but that's kind of what's required in order to get to that at least like 90% physical damage reduction, or physical damage converted to LE. Then we have a Balance of Terror here for LE weakness. Big damage here just because, again, the build really lacks damage, so you need to go to all extreme lengths and measures you can to get it. And then for your cluster jewels, what you want to be rolling for is 35% increased effect. And then you're going to want one with some chaos res on it, and you're going to need one with some intelligence on it, because for Rational Doctrine, you do need your highest stat to be int. And in order to get that, you're going to end up basically needing to get int on a bunch of different gear, or if you just get int on a cluster jewel like this, this is how I ended up doing it, and it's how you can do it as well. You want one Corrupted Blood Jewel. It doesn't matter what it is. And then you are just looking for a Militant Faith here with High Templar Maxarius. The regen mana is really, really useful, just to ensure that you don't have any mana issues. And then again, you have your Militant Faith here with elemental damage, and you just need to make sure you're taking Transcendence on this. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, everything else is just flask, suppression, life, things like that. All the damage is pretty much coming from the cluster jewels and the jewels themselves. And then, yeah, if you look under the configs here, we do have frenzy charges. We do have a power charge on crit set up with Stormbrand, which surprisingly, this was actually getting 9% saps on things, like in maps. I kept noticing about a 9% sap, which seemed wild to me because I was a level 1 or level 2 Stormbrand. But if we're getting some sap from it, I'll mark it in the config. We are taking this point here for increased effect of non-damaging ailments, just so we can ensure that our brittle and our scorched end up getting capped. But yeah, so if you look again, the amount of physical that you end up actually taking is really, really low compared to the actual hit itself. So that's why you're able to push these defenses so high and kind of tank everything. So yeah, if you have any questions about the build, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And other than that, enjoy the footage.